In Chicago, Donald Trump's rally was canceled due to a concern for safety after a large group of protesters gathered inside and around the building, causing tensions. Was this an appropriate form of protest? We'll discuss it after this quick message. All opinions are probably biased. Do not assume any statements are correct without doing your own research and coming to your own conclusion. In the event that the statements are incorrect, contact the creator and refrain from being an ass. All videos are created in good faith. I hope this reminds you of the disclaimers for prescriptions. Hi everybody, I'm Cryberry Banana. Welcome to In My Humble Opinion. Today we'll be talking about the protest that resulted in the cancellation of Donald Trump's rally in Chicago. Originally, I was going to read the article, College Community Wants Trump Rally Booted from Campus, but then the rally actually got canceled. However, I'm lucky that what happened is much more interesting to talk about. So let's read about it and we can discuss it. This is from a CNN article titled, Trump Supporters Protesters Clash After Chicago Rally Postponed. Donald Trump's campaign on Friday postponed a rally in Chicago amid fights between supporters and demonstrators, protests in the streets, and concerns that the environment at the event was no longer safe. The announcement, which came amid large protests both inside and outside the event at the University of Illinois at Chicago, follows heightened concerns about violence in general at the GOP frontrunners' rallies. Illinois holds its Republican primary on Tuesday. Hundreds of demonstrators packed into an arena, breaking out into protest even before Trump had shown up. At least 5 sections in the arena were filled with protesters. Mr. Trump just arrived in Chicago, and after meeting with law enforcement, has determined that for the safety of all of the tens of thousands of people that have gathered in and around the arena, tonight's rally will be postponed to another date, the Trump campaign said in a statement. Thank you very much for your attendance, and please go in peace. Several fistfights between Trump supporters and protesters could be seen after the announcement as a large contingent of Chicago police officers moved in to restore the order. Before I go into my opinion, let's state the facts surrounding this. The way Trump handles his rallies makes it so that he can throw any unwanted attendees out. Since he is issuing tickets and the events are not held in a traditional public forum, it is considered a private event. This leads me to another point. Since it is a private event, if you do not leave when requested, then you are trespassing. That said, the protesters had a right to be in the event and yell whatever they want. However, like stated above, once they are told to leave, they have to leave. In case anyone was wondering, it's perfectly acceptable to protest the event outside. The police may place restrictions on how close you can get to the entrance of the event, but you have a right to protest. As long as you're not blocking traffic or preventing people from entering the venue, you're fine. Of course, in both protesting inside and outside the event, violence is unacceptable. So let's discuss this. Do you really believe that it is acceptable to try to silence opposing opinions like that? I get it, his rhetoric is toxic. It divides the country and promotes hate. I entirely believe that his rallies should be protested, but we shouldn't endorse any behavior that seeks to silence opponents. If you have to resort to forcibly silencing your opponents, then it just shows that you don't believe that your ideas can win against theirs. Even if you're doing it for the noble cause of stopping the spread of hate, shutting down rallies is not the answer. I know. Somebody is going to say that his supporters are unreasonable, so we have to resort to this behavior. If you have to stoop to that level, you're no better than them. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not one of those people claiming that Trump's First Amendment right was violated. Frankly, the First Amendment doesn't protect you from the actions of our citizens. As long as they approach it legally, which for the most part they did, their actions are acceptable based on the law. However, in the spirit of having free speech, we should condemn these actions. You might counter that free speech has consequences, but I will oppose anybody who actively tries to silence another person's speech. By managing to shut him down, the narrative of Trump being attacked by the left becomes true. In the media, we saw protesters cheering about how they shut Trump down. Do you think everybody's going to look at that and say good job? If they're already against Trump, you might. But otherwise, you'd be shocked. The people on the right who previously did not support him will have more sympathy for him. So ultimately, you gave him more power. To be fair to the other side, Trump has been joking about violence, if not encouraging it. Here's 2 examples of what I was talking about. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Another quote would be, there may be someone with tomatoes in the audience, so if you see someone getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously, okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you. I will pay the legal fees. I promise. It won't be so much because the courts agree with us too. While Trump may have been encouraging the atmosphere of violence, that's still no reason to try to shut the rally down. Now, I've seen some people try to say that the protesters didn't shut down the rally since it was Trump himself who canceled it. However, that entirely ignores the fact that he canceled it due to fears of violence. Had the protests remained outside, this fear probably would not have been extreme enough to convince Trump that the event needed to be canceled. Since the protesters created the scenario that caused the concern, I'm willing to say that the protesters shut the rally down. As for the violence that actually occurred, in many cases it is impossible to determine who started the fights. It's highly unlikely that it was only one side instigating fights. However, I will say this. Whoever started the fights is wrong. Even though the protesters planned on shutting the rally down, violence should have never been part of this event. I feel like I need to reiterate this one point. I am not a Donald Trump supporter. I dislike how vague his answers are. I believe his speeches are divisive. I don't think he has a suitable temperament for the presidency. And I'm against anybody who promotes Islamophobia. However, even though I do not support him or his message, I do not want to live in a society that will try to actively silence anyone who holds unpopular opinions. So I'm sure somebody has something to say to this, so leave a comment below and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. Until next time, good night and good luck.